Okay, so we're working on a 1998, we're getting the VIN here, Pontiac Grand Prix with a 3.8 with information center. Okay, we get our enchants and our generic powertrain codes. Okay, we're gonna go there. Okay, so what we're getting is we got to check engine light on. It's failing smog, obviously. And the latest code has been an EGR flow low, EGR gas recirculation flow insufficient DTC P0401. So we already checked the passage is open. We have changed the valve. It's new. Here's the valve. We have an open passage. We can actually run the engines for a second with the valve off. And then when we do, we got a huge vacuum, we got a huge vacuum source coming through that passage that's over into it. And that passage is open. Our exhaust passage is open. I actually ran the engine momentarily. We got a good exhaust pulse out of there. So that's all open, and we have a new valve. So we put that EGR low flow, flow insufficient code. All right. Okay, let's look at some of our other codes here. So we got, and these are like, this car is kind of old, so he's been fixing different things on it for a while. So you had an injector circuit open. Injector 1, which caused a misfire. These are in history now. The car is running actually fairly well for its age and stuff. So he had an injector code monitor. But we've also got a manifold absolute pressure, barometric pressure circuit, low code. Okay. Now, why is that important? Okay, so that's important because in this case, the map sensor is providing the monitor for when the EGR valve is opening. So if it isn't doing its job correctly, it should, in other words, the manifold pressure should increase when the EGR valve is open to a certain point. If it doesn't, it's going to do this. And then besides that, we're going to get a map circuit low anyway. Okay, so let's check our parameters here. So what we're going to do, let's go to our live data grid. Boy, you know what? I don't want all this stuff. Okay, so we're just going to go to our generic powertrain. Okay, all I just want is generic. Okay, we can go current. Okay, so here's our codes. Okay, so we've got our exhaust gas circulation code. Okay, this is history. This misfire stuff. We had a open circuit in injector 1. The wiring was damaged, but it's running good now. And then we got this map sensor DTC low code. Okay, so what we're going to do now? Okay, let's go to our parameters. Okay, so we don't got a lot of parameters in this older OBDII car. It's a 98. So I don't have to like do a custom menu or anything. Okay, so here we go. So we're gonna go to sensor name. Here's our parameters. Okay, so so I suspect that map sensor isn't doing its thing correctly. Oh boy, battery's limited. How is it getting that low now? Okay. Our intake manifold absolute pressure sensor. Okay, so let's look at our intake manifold absolute pressure. So it's at 10 inches of pressure. Okay. So at sea level, your air pressure is about 29 inches of vacuum pressure, air pressure. So if you're going to deduct, and then a coarse way to do this, and a ballpark way, which is close enough, is you're going to subtract about what the intake manifold vacuum is from in inches of vacuum from the air pressure at sea level, or at static air pressure, which is what air pressure you have at sea level, to get the manifold pressure that I have now. So for example, lifting manifold pressure at sea level, which is, I'm close to that, I'm here in Santa Clarita, California, is 29 inches. If I subtract 17 inches of vacuum from that, I will then get 10 inches more or less of vacuum at idle, which is good. Okay, now what we're going to do now is we're going to shut this off, and then we're going to look at that pressure with the engine shut off, and then we're going to open the throttle up. Okay, here we go. Now let me see. Now it was sticking before. I hope it does it again. Okay, there. Okay, it's at 11.2. Okay, it went up to 28.6. Okay, before we had 11 points. I should take a picture of that. Okay. Okay. Oops. 28 points. Okay, it's working now. Oh gosh. All right. Okay. So the problem then, this sensor is sticking. I wish I could get that thing to do it again. It might work now. The code might go. So here's our map sensor. It's actually we got two sources of vacuum coming from the manifold, which the manifold source is good, but it actually operates the PCV valve underneath. Here's the map sensor itself. I don't want to keep doing this because I'm driving Mike here crazy with taking this on and off and apart. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Do you want to take it off? Okay, he's going to take it off for us. He's actually a pretty good mechanic. He's had to become one. Okay, so the way this is set up on these 3.8s is you got a vacuum source right here. There's a little hole. I don't know if you can see it. But if you take out this PCV valve, the vacuum source is here. It's on the side of this. Man, you'll feel a little port there. And that's a vacuum for this, but it's also the vacuum for the map sensor right here, and it's going to provide my vacuum to this. So before, when we were checking this, which I should have got a picture of at that time, we were measuring our voltage here. Let's do that really quick. Okay, so what we're going to do now, so what we do is we got a reference voltage of 5 volts here. We've got ground. That's a reference voltage from the computer. When we got the ground there. And then this is the single voltage going back to the PCM. So now I'm going to read a good reading because this thing is intermittent. So we're going to get close to 5 volts as the single voltage because we got full atmospheric pressure going into this map sensor in here, because it's outside. So we're going to check. It's going to be a good reading. I got it more. Okay.
No, the engine is not. The key is off.
Make sure you got a good ground. Where are you touching ground?
Maybe this is not good ground.
Use this as a ground. That's a good ground. Okay, so we're getting about 4.67 volts, which is actually a pretty good voltage for the for outside. Okay. However, before we were getting about 1.2 volts when we measured that, and that meant that that diaphragm probably in this map sensor, it was sticking. Okay, so that happens. That's not going to allow the map to work correctly, and then you're going to get it's also going to cause an error as far as the EGR valve is opening, because the map can't read the pressure, manifold pressure increase when the EGR opens. So that's going to be our problem for this. All right, this is Steve Story at Car Inspectors. Thanks very much for watching us today, and have a blessed day.